Yo, Fiend Life episode 16. So this time, I wanted to elaborate on something interesting that someone told me. So it's about you play to your strengths. And I think I've said this before, but it was a good reminder of what to do. And so he was just smoking outside while I was just chilling after Saturday bracket, and he just said, just focus on your strengths. You got to perfect your strengths before you start working on your weaknesses, so you don't become like a jack of all trades. Because I think if you do everything solidly, it's good, but that means that there's no, um, pretty much that if like you do everything solidly, nothing's also going to surprise you. Like you're a very well-rounded player, yes, of course, and that's good. But I think the big thing about players that are exceptional is that they have one or two things that they do better than anyone else, and that really sets them apart. Because when they get into the game situations that allow them to play to their strengths, then they seem very unstoppable. So it's interesting actually. I always think I'm just aggressive fox, but I don't think I'm really that aggressive. Which is fine. It's just interesting because I think it goes back to an important idea of knowing yourself. So knowing who you are and knowing what you do well, and I think it's you have to ask other players about it. And I think I am very aggressive when it comes to combos and rushing down on the knockdown and being able to do that. But I think my build up in my neutral is very much more of a counter play, counter hit sort of style. Um, so it's good, it's interesting. I'm going to focus on my strengths, but hopefully I'll be able to transition from that to having no style. And I think that's just part of becoming good is that you don't have anything that defines you. And I think that's like, for example, something that's uh, like people a lot try to emulate in Leffen's play style is that he can play real aggressive, he can play really defensive, he can play as a counter hit, he can play as a read bait style. Um, so he really has no like particular style. Um, and I think that's what makes him a really great player, actually. So, but right now I'm working on my strengths. So I think I have this sort of like counter hit sort of thing. So we'll see how that gets going. One thing though, I definitely want to work on. I think two things that wouldn't really change the game because I hate doing that. I have this bad habit of thinking, oh, if I do this one tactic, it will be completely different for me, and that's not necessarily true. But one thing I want to explore, and I think is better. What I want to say is, one is shield pressure. I think having tighter shield pressure will just allow me to apply more pressure in my game, and then be able to go from there. Because I do think I'm really good, especially in the rock paper scissors, and I think that reflects in my punish game. But if I can add on to it in shield pressure, I think that would be really interesting. And maybe it won't work, but I want to try it anyway. And another one is I'm staying closer. So I think Mike Tyson has a similar style actually, and this is kind of weird. I don't mean to try to be like Mike Tyson. Just noticing these sort of things where pretty much he had this peekaboo style. If you're not familiar with Mike Tyson, you might be familiar with Hajime no Ippo, the anime, who's based off of Mike Tyson. So sort of that style, where they're like this, and then they're staying really close to their opponent and they're rushing them down, but um, they're only slowly making it in, ready to get the counter hit, sort of bringing the game to their opponent regardless. So I think it's like kind of like run up shield where you're not committing to anything, but you're putting the ball in your opponent's court to say, "Hey, do something," and then we'll go from there. So I think that's really good, and I think I try to do that a lot. But I noticed while talking with Nico that sometimes I like start to like retreat. So I finish my combo and I'm like, okay, my combo's done, and that's good awareness. But I don't continue with the corner pressure. So that's something I think would be really interesting to work on. So yeah, so those are the two things, just two things I noticed like on where I can improve, where there are flaws, and what do I want to try out. And I think trying out new things and new styles, even if it's not really for me, is really good. And I don't know whether it's for me until I try it. I think you sort of have this feeling, this natural aptitude to a certain things that certain people do. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe it takes a long time for me to understand, like up tilts. Maybe it's something that I immediately understand. So we'll see. But I'm excited. All right, later, guys.